Wow, it's been more than 6 weeks since my last one. I wasn't lazy, I swear. For the first month or so, I was brought in to work on the few final episodes of a TV show, mostly animation touch-ups and lip-syncing. So when that was done, I decided to use that lip-syncing experience to work on an entry for the 11 Seconds Club. If you don't know it, every month they put up around 11 seconds of dialogue and animators animate it. It's a great exercise and a good way to get feedback. So that's what you're seeing now, the lip-syncing part of the animation process. It's all hand-drawn as opposed to the show I worked on, which used ready-made rigs. Both are quite similar in some aspects and quite different in others. So here are my thoughts. First, a few general tips for lip-syncing. My basis came from the animator's survival kit, which I mentioned before. As I recall, there are two main lessons there. First, don't try to match every sound of every word. Blur the sounds together and show only the big ones. That also means giving every drawing some time, at least 2 frames, unless it's used to soften the switch from one shape to another, but actually probably not even then. Second, don't put the mouth shape exactly when the corresponding sound starts, but 2 frames earlier. That's honestly most of what you need for good lip syncing, other than experience, obviously. Draw the big shapes, give each at least 2 frames, and start them a little early. Most of the time you can see exactly when the sound starts by looking at the waveform on the audio layer. When I couldn't, I would start playback at various points and see where I can hear a little of the previous dialogue. Rig animation is definitely easier to lip sync. You have a collection of mouths and you just click the right one and move on to the next place. Sometimes there's no exact mouth shape, the rigs on the show didn't have any for R's or G's, but you can either ignore them or find something close enough. Another thing I found is that you can stretch each mouth shape a little longer in rig animation over hand-drawn. Instead of 2 or 3 frames per drawing, it's usually 3 to 5. Since the line art in rigs is static and there's overall little movement, the mouth can be a little choppier as well. In hand-drawn animation, I found myself adding drawings more often, otherwise it didn't feel right. Now, the big drawback of hand-drawn lip sync is that you need to draw many more mouths, but actually I didn't really mind that. Almost every mouth is entirely unique, and it probably helps it look less mechanical. No, it was adjusting the chins that was really annoying. A few final tips I picked up along the way. Scrubbing is really useful. It's when you hear the audio just by sliding the frame indicator around the timeline. Super useful. If there are 2 strong sounds in a short time frame, say a strong consonant and a big vowel like ba, it's usually better to drop the first sound and show only the second. Move ahead, don't stay behind. However, you might want to make an exception when it would result in 2 consecutive similar shapes. If the character is saying something like aga and you barely hear the G, you should at least make the second A bigger and maybe also close the mouth a little on the G so that there's a jump between the 2 A's. Lip syncing is the one type of animation that doesn't always like smooth transitions. Finally, put the mouth and chin, if it's also moving, on a separate layer to the rest of the body. It's a bit annoying, but it's really important to keep the big movements and the rapid mouth changes separate. You want the freedom to time the mouth independently of the body and the option to adjust the body's movement without having to change dozens of drawings. Now, if anyone has more tips about lip syncing, I would love to hear them. I'm sure I still have more to learn. And if there's something you'd like me to talk about, don't hesitate to ask. Until next time.